You think the Amazon rainforest is dangerous. Jaguars, anacondas, piranhas, electric eels, poisoned dart frogs, one of the deadliest places on Earth. You have no idea. 20 million years ago, the Amazon wasn't a rainforest. It was something far worse, a lake the size of Japan, 150 feet deep, and patrolling those waters, crocodiles that weighed more than killer whales. Crocodiles with bite forces stronger than Tyrannosaurus rex. Crocodiles that could death roll a buffalo into chunks of meat. And there wasn't just one species. There were dozens. Everywhere you looked. Crocodiles outnumbered birds. The water wasn't blue. It was a death trap. Welcome to Lake Pebos, the Amazon that time forgot. And honestly, if you think the Amazon is scary today, boy oh boy do I have news for you. Because 20 million years ago, it would make the modern rainforest look like an absolute petting zoo. Today, we're diving into one of the most insane ecosystems in Earth's history. A place where crocodiles outnumbered birds, where turtles grew bigger than cars, and where the apex predator could literally death roll a buffalo into pieces. This is the story of when the Amazon was a nightmare. Let's dive in. Our story begins 21 million years ago, the Miocene epoch, early Miocene to be specific, the Aquitanian age. Now, globally, this period was relatively dry and cool, but clearly nobody told South America, because while the rest of the planet was chilling out, the Amazon basin was getting absolutely soaked. And the reason? Tectonic activity. The Andes Mountains were rising, slowly, violently, pushing upward millimeter by millimeter. And as they rose, they created something geologists love. A basin, basically a gigantic natural bowl in the western part of South America. Water flows downhill. Always has. Always will. And when you've got mountains rising on one side and nowhere for water to escape, it pools, it floods, it fills up to the brim. And that's exactly what happened. Rivers that once flowed to the Pacific suddenly got blocked, turned around, started filling the basin year after year, century after century, until the entire region became one massive wetland system. Lake Pebos was born. Now, here's where it gets complicated, because scientists still argue about what Lake Pebos actually looked like. Was it one enormous lake, multiple connected lake systems, a mega marsh, some hybrid situation? The honest answer? We're not entirely sure. The evidence is hazy. What we do know is this. At its absolute peak, Lake Pebos covered an area larger than modern Japan. In certain spots, water depths hit 50 meters. That's 150 feet. Deep enough to swallow a 15-story building. So for anyone with thalassophobia, the fear of deep water, yeah, Lake Pebos was basically your worst nightmare. And that's before we even talk about what lived down there. Because the creatures inhabiting these waters, let's just say they were not human-friendly, not even close. Fast forward to the Middle Miocene, roughly 15 million years ago, and something wild happened to global temperatures. Scientists call it the MMCO, the Middle Miocene Climatic Optimum. Catchy name. Basically, atmospheric carbon dioxide levels spiked. Global temperatures rose. On average, about 3 to 4 degrees Celsius warmer than today. Now, that might not sound like much, but perspective matters. That temperature difference, it's like going from Portugal to Syria. Comfortable Mediterranean climate to brutal desert heat. And Lake Pebos? Based on reconstructions, it would have ranked among the top 5 hottest regions on Earth. We're talking oppressive, sweltering, unrelenting heat, the kind where you'd need industrial-strength sunscreen and about 5 gallons of water just to survive a morning walk. But here's the thing. That heat? It was incredible for life. Cold-blooded life specifically. The vegetation exploded. Giant trees shot up. thick mangroves spread everywhere. Massive marshes formed. The water levels reached their absolute maximum extent. And into this lush, hot, wet paradise, animals poured in, reptiles especially. Because remember, reptiles are cold-blooded, ectothermic. They rely on external heat to regulate body temperature. And Lake Pebas had heat in abundance. So reptiles thrived. They diversified, they grew, and they grew big. Now, the Cenozoic era is usually called the Age of Mammals. And globally, that's accurate. Mammals dominated most terrestrial ecosystems. But Lake Pebas was the exception. Lake Pebas belonged to the reptiles. And one group in particular absolutely took over. Crocodilians. If you think places like Australia, the Everglades, or the Nile have crocodile problems today, think again. Lake Pebas makes them look adorable by comparison. Fossil formations from this period show something insane. Crocodilian diversity in Lake Pebas exceeded bird diversity. Read that again. There were more species of crocodiles than species of birds. Imagine a place where spotting a bird is rarer than spotting a crocodile, where every riverbank, every lake shore, every muddy flat is crawling with armored reptilian death machines. That's Lake Pebas. And we're not talking about small crocodiles, we're talking about giants, mega crocs, super crocs, crocodilians that would make modern saltwater crocs look like adorable pets. Which brings us to the king. Meet Purosaurus, the largest caiman ever, possibly the largest crocodilian to ever exist, and absolutely the most terrifying predator in Lake Pebas. The first Purosaurus fossils were discovered back in 1892, in the Purus region of Brazil, hence the name. And when paleontologists brushed away the sediment from the skull fragments, they immediately knew something was different. These skull pieces were enormous, absurdly thick, box-shaped, almost comically robust. Subsequent discoveries confirmed what they suspected. This was a super croc, built like an armored tank, proportions completely off the charts. The skull alone measured 4.7 feet. That's 1.5 meters. Just the head. And it wasn't sleek or streamlined, it was massive. Heavy, designed for one purpose: crushing. Now, the postcranial bones, the body bones, have been harder to find. So, size estimates vary, but even the most conservative studies agree. Purosaurus measured at minimum 9.2 meters. That's 30 feet long, and weighed over 6 tons. 6 tons, that's heavier than the largest great white sharks, on par with actual killer whales. And that's the conservative estimate. Other studies get crazier. Theoretical maximum sizes range from 33 to 52 feet, 10 to 15.8 meters. At those sizes, weight estimates balloon: 8.4 tons, 10 tons, 12.6 tons, 12.6 tons. That's heavier than a minke whale, a crocodilian heavier than a whale. Let that sink in. If those upper estimates are accurate, and separate studies suggest they might be, then Purosaurus was heavier than the famous megacrocs, heavier than Deinosuchus, heavier than Sarcosuchus, the heaviest crocodilian in history. And with that titanic skull came an equally terrifying bite force. Biomechanical models suggest 69,000 newtons, which sounds like a random number. So, let me put it in perspective. That's stronger than Tyrannosaurus rex, stronger than any land predator we know of. It's the equivalent of having a fully loaded cargo truck dropped directly on top of you. Except, instead of tires, you've got dozens of 2-inch conical teeth, curved, double-edged, thickly built, designed to puncture straight through bone without breaking. Purosaurus was a hunter of large vertebrates. It used puncture and hold bites, grabbed prey, clamped down, didn't let go, and then, despite its massive weight, Paleontologists believe it could still perform the classic crocodilian finishing move, the death roll. Modern crocodiles use death rolls to dismember prey. They've been documented ripping apart animals as large as Cape Buffalo, literally tearing them into pieces. Now, imagine a death roll from something weighing 12 tons, with a bite force stronger than T-Rex. I genuinely don't want to picture how messy that would be. Purosaurus was the apex predator. Nothing in Lake Pebas was safe from a fully grown adult. Nothing. And just to make it even more unfair, Purosaurus had incredible defenses too. Thick scales, massive osteoderms, armor plating heavier than anything seen in modern crocodiles, protecting it from attacks, from environmental hazards, from the fallen trees and sharp debris littering Lake Pebas waters. Fossil evidence shows Purosaurus wasn't limited to specific habitats either. It lived everywhere. Rivers, floodplains, open lake environments. If there was water, there was Purosaurus. And if you were in that water? Well, it was nice knowing you, but Purosaurus wasn't alone, not even close. Lake Pebas was also home to possibly the largest gharial relative ever. Meet Gryposuchus. Now, I'd much rather swim near this guy than Purosaurus. But honestly, I'd prefer neither, because Gryposuchus was still a giant in its own right. 4 species have been discovered so far. The largest by far is Gryposuchus croizati, described in 2009. Seems to have lived in the northern regions of Pebas, frequented both freshwater and coastal environments, had access to diverse food sources, which clearly did wonders for its size. Mature individuals commonly exceeded 10 meters, 33 feet long. Only Ramposuchus rivals it for the title of largest gharial relative ever. Now, unlike Purosaurus with its massive broad skull, Gryposuchus evolved an extremely narrow, slender one, which tells us something important about diet. It primarily hunted large fish. Lots and lots of fish. But given its sheer size, the occasional mammal probably ended up on the menu too, because when you're 30 feet long, you've got options. And if this duo of titans wasn't enough, there was a third, a stupidly huge crocodilian that completed the Pebas trifecta, Murasuchus. Like Purosaurus, it was a type of caiman, but these siblings couldn't be more different, because Murasuchus had a bizarre, flat, elongated skull, often described as duck-like. Sounds funny, but I'd never say that to its face, because adults reached 9.5 meters, 31 feet long, and weighed over 4 tons. 4 tons. Basically 4 giraffes mashed together into one crocodile. And scientists have debated its diet for years. 3 main hypotheses exist. First, it was a generalist. Patiently waited for animals to drift into its mouth. Swallowed them whole. Second hypothesis? A gentle giant. Fed on floating plant material. Though honestly, most paleontologists aren't betting on this one. The third hypothesis has the most support. Murasuchus used its massive duck bill to sift through muddy lake and river floors, uprooted and consumed invertebrates, mollusks, crustaceans, and fish, like a crocodilian vacuum cleaner. And while it might not be as vicious as Purosaurus, swimming into one would still absolutely wreck your day. I guarantee it. Now remember, these 3 were just the giants. Lake Pebas had at least a dozen other crocodilian genera, ranging wildly in size. Multiple species rivaled the largest modern crocodiles. Others were much smaller, dog-sized, some even smaller than that, which sounds better, until you realize what it actually means. Every single animal in Lake Pebas had a crocodile specifically designed to hunt it. Small prey, small crocs. Medium prey, medium crocs. Large prey, mega crocs. There was no escape. But as Ian Malcolm so perfectly put it, life finds a way, and the other creatures in Pebas fought back, using that good old evolutionary arms race, gigantism, which is why Lake Pebas also became home to enormous fish, massive freshwater stingrays rivaling modern record holders, human-sized drums and croakers. The waters were packed with oversized aquatic life, but the animal that would turn the most heads, the one non-crocodilian that truly stood out? A turtle. Though, honestly, calling it a kaiju makes more sense, because this was the largest freshwater turtle of all time, one of the largest turtles, period. Stupendomes. And don't let the name confuse you, it has nothing to do with being stupid. It's 100% about being stupendous, which perfectly describes this reptile. The carapace, just the shell, measured 2.86 meters in some specimens, 9.4 feet. And remember, that's just the shell, not the full body, weight over 1 ton. A literal ton turtle. And scientists believe these extreme proportions were essentially forced by crocodilian threats. The enormous shell provided necessary protection while crossing dangerous waters. And we have direct fossil evidence supporting this. Multiple Stupendomes specimens show bite marks on their shells. Some even have embedded crocodilian teeth still stuck in the carapace. Now, not every turtle was this fortunate, but in these cases, the XXL shells did the trick, helped them survive and fight another day. Seeing a mega turtle would definitely check some time travel boxes for me, but you'd want to observe from a very safe distance. Because while we think of turtles as harmless, cute creatures, Stupendomes was feisty. It possessed a massive, curved beak. Hard, powerful, could snip and crunch various prey, likely had a generalist omnivorous diet, and given its size, fish, mollusks, smaller crocodilians, snakes, all fair game. The turtles of Lake Pebas refused to be victims. They evolved, they adapted, they survived. So let's recap. Lake Pebas. 21 million years ago, a super-mega wetland system larger than Japan. Depths reaching 150 feet, temperatures ranking among Earth's hottest, and an ecosystem absolutely dominated by crocodilians. Crocodiles outnumbered birds. Giants like Purosaurus weighing 12 tons with bite forces exceeding T-Rex. Gryposuchus stretching 30 feet hunting massive fish. Morasuchus with its bizarre duck-bill vacuuming lake floors, and at least a dozen other crocodilian species filling every predatory niche imaginable. Plus, megaturtles with ton-heavy shells defending against croc attacks. Enormous fish adapting to survive. An entire ecosystem operating under constant predatory pressure. Lake Pebas was brutal. Lake Pebas was extreme. Lake Pebas was one of the most dangerous freshwater ecosystems in Earth's history. And then, gradually, it disappeared. The Andes continued rising. Drainage patterns shifted. New river systems formed. Lake Pebas slowly drained. The water receded. The megalake transformed into rivers and rainforest. The Amazon we know today began taking shape. The megacrocs, they declined, went extinct, couldn't adapt to the changing environment. Purosaurus, Gryposuchus, Morasuchus, all gone. What remains? Fossils, fragments, clues to a world that once existed. A reminder that even the most eternal-seeming places change, that ecosystems rise and fall, that nothing lasts forever. The Amazon rainforest feels ancient, timeless. But in geological terms, it's relatively young, just a few million years old. Before the rainforest, there was a mega lake. And before the mega lake, something else entirely. Earth is constantly changing, constantly evolving. And 20 million years from now, the Amazon will look completely different again. Makes you wonder what future paleontologists will think when they dig up our fossils. What stories will our bones tell? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of prehistory's most insane ecosystems, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got tons more ancient world content coming. Hit that notification bell so you never miss when we uncover the next lost world. And drop a comment telling me which Lake Pebas creature you'd least want to encounter. Personally, I'm going with Pyrosaurus. 12-ton death machine? Yeah, I'll pass. Until next time, keep exploring Earth's incredible prehistoric past with us.